George Clooney, Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, Robert Pattinson. What do all of these men have in common? Well, my girlfriend would leave me for any of them.
No!
Oh, and Batman. They also have Batman in common.
Why did you say that name?
A hero that's had many iterations. Some are bleak and edgy. Something in the way. Others are slapstick and comical.
The ice.
The range is impressive. Some might say there's a little bit of something for everyone. But even with all these iterations, no one was ready for the rise of the Black Bat.
I suppose I should have expected that reaction.
The cheapest imagining of the Caped Crusader, a real hero that can give Bale a run for his money. Now please note, Mr. Copyright Man, this is not a breach, because this is the Black Bat and this is Batman. Two different things. Even though I'm almost 100% sure the producers just bought a Batman mask online to make his outfit. They are, legally speaking, two different entities, and without doubt, the Black Bat is the superior of the two.
You got a problem, friend?
You've got the problem, and I'm not your friend.
The rise of the Bat opens exactly how you'd expect, with two goons getting their comeuppance.
Pretty quiet, huh?
Yeah.
Two goons that are, as you see, distinguished gentlemen. We have LA Noire detective man and f***ing gangster Notch. They even managed to incorporate visual impairment into the plot because Trenchcoat is legally blind, losing his body after he steps a mere 2 inches to the left.
Steve?
As if stepping out of frame sent him spiraling into a void.
You okay?
Regardless, something is out there, but what is it? Is it a bird, a plane, or is it a down on his luck actor dressed as the poor man's Batman? Ah, it was the latter. Go figure. This is our first look at the titular hero. A complex man, a fierce man, a bat man. His powers are identical to Batman, just without the wealth, high-tech gadgets, and years of near superhuman level martial arts training. So, ironically, he's more similar to, say, Phoenix Jones than any other real hero.
I'm Phoenix Jones. I'm just like everyone else.
Also, I love the fact that he was literally just lying flat on a snowy floor when the thug walked past him. Absolutely no effort to make his appearance slightly believable, but I mean, hey, start as you mean to go on. Here we get a monologue from the Bat with some of the stankiest, most moldy-ass delivery you'll ever hear.
My name is Anthony Quinn, and I'm the district attorney of this city. My friends call me Tony, but there are some people in this city, mostly disreputable people, that know me by another name.
So he's an attorney, his friends call him Tony, and he's caught up in a shootout with actual bots in a warehouse somewhere. He hits us with the 90s, so you might be wondering how I got here. Cue comical record scratch.
Now you might ask yourself why a well-respected district attorney would find himself in a situation like this. Well, let's pause here, and I can tell you the story.
Hard cut to the title screen with a pan of an awful CGI city. Honestly, PS1 graphics. Hell, the original Spider-Man had a more convincing city.
Please, someone! I'm going to die.
To top it off, they even have the audacity to credit a screen and script writer on this movie. I call bullshit. These men are not real. Every line was conceived on the spot and recorded in one take. There is no other way to explain the final product.
I have perfect night vision. No one else in the world has that except for bats and creatures of the night.
At night, in a dark alley, we see a woman stopping for a smoke, the perfect setup for a damsel in distress. Along come two conspicuous men, which causes the smoking woman to walk away. That is a smart idea, but the producers literally forgot their own script and still have her standing there when the men walk over. Continuity was clearly not a priority while filming. Now, she walks off to the left, but I'm almost certain that they recorded her walking down the same alley they both came from. The slippery git? How did she manage that one? She's pulling a Dead by Daylight loop trick on him. The men slowly pursue her, walking a snail's pace behind for a comically long amount of time. It was like a scene right out of It Follows. Terrifying. Eventually, the woman's cornered and things are looking bad. Short Stack says something here, but they've completely ripped out the audio and replaced it with music. The levels of laziness in this movie are almost unbearable. No reshoots or ad-libs here. Just blare loud music and pretend he's not meant to be talking. Wait, actually, is that guy No Neck Ed? Well, I'll be. With all the commotion, up rises the Black Bat. Nod in his head like, yes, I am about to beat you 2 ways to Sunday. Fear me. An intense fight breaks out, portrayed through shadows cast on a brick wall. Very artsy. This is like a Robert Eggers movie. This fight eventually leads to a shootout. Martial arts really aren't the Bat's strong point. Instead, he has to pull up with a gat and blast a fool. A true American hero. He saves the girl, who runs away in fear of his terrifying appearance. This segues into a fucking otherworldly fever dream where the Bat is, I assume, hanging upside down, blowing a load all over his chin.
I suppose I should have expected that reaction.
This movie is cursed.
I did, after all, choose this persona in order to strike fear into the hearts of criminals. I suppose it should be expected that my appearance would frighten the innocent as well.
We get more context on the Bat's origin now, where we discover why they never bothered to ad-lib.
I am now the Black Bat, but once, I was just Tony Quinn, District Attorney.
Are you serious about having Mr. Snape take the stand?
Because they don't know how. They don't understand how voices and mouth movements add up. This movie was created by lizards trying to imitate humans.
You shouldn't have tried to get Snape to take the stand.
There's another flashback to Tony's early life as a district attorney, and dear lord, does this man look like an actual district attorney. Also, what is happening with the timeline? It began with a flash forward, moved to a flashback, then there's a flashback to before the flashback. It's the dumbest shit. In said flashback, something bad is happening. Someone is coming for him. They break into the house, go upstairs, and find Tony's bed empty.
Whoa there.
Who are you and what are you doing in my house?
Easy. If you'd lower the gun.
Start talking!
Okay. You're in danger. I came here to warn you.
Nice try.
No, it's true. My name is Kirby. Silk Kirby.
Who the hell named that man? Silk Kirby? Was that the best name they could invent? Just shoot him, honestly. He deserves it for that name alone.
I heard that one of Oliver Snate's men is coming here to kill you.
Snate?
Yeah, you do have a court date with him tomorrow, don't you?
Yes, but it's been in all the papers. We're putting him away for extortion and for arms dealing.
Well, he's sending someone here tonight. I came here to warn you.
And just why would you do that for me?
Kirby. You do know that name, don't you?
He's pink and eats everything. What a bonin'.
Brother's name is Warren Kirby. You put him away about 10 years ago for murder.
And for that, you came here to warn me. How does that make any sense?
Well, it makes sense to me.
Turns out he's a good guy, and he was breaking in to warn Tony that people were gonna break in. It's the weakest plot point ever. Why not knock? Send a text, an email, maybe call the police? I don't know. How is breaking in at night, sneaking upstairs and trying to cop a feel of his smooth sleeping dome the best option? Reptiles, honestly.
So you say that somebody is coming here tonight to kill me?
That's what I heard.
Well, maybe you can prove that you're trustworthy.
How?
To prove Silk's on Tony's side, the pair team up and plan to take down the intruders together, who, right on cue, enters the house.
Oliver Snate sends his regards.
I bloody love this scene. He really put Silk under the blankets. What a dick move. What if the intruder had just walked in and shot the man instead of dropping a pun? That would have been one of them awkward ones. They could have easily placed pillows under there to make the shape of a person. Tony has a complete disregard for human life.
I got connections. Underworld connections. They could prove to be quite useful for you if you need them. I could be your man Friday if you like.
Silk Kirby, I just might take you up on that. In fact, I think I have a task for you already.
What?
Call the cops. This guy's bleeding all over my carpet.
Wow, this guy is just too badass. The next day, we see Tony in his office, which is actually the same scene from the flashback earlier, so I don't know why they chose to mess up the dialogue for no reason. Apparently losing audio sync makes it feel more like a flashback. In fact, why even show a flashback if you're going to show the flashback in the flashback? This is a time paradox. Tony explains his grand plan to prosecute a known crime boss, and it's personal now because this criminal tried to order a hit on him.
Are you serious about having Mr. Snape take the stand?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Don't you think that's a little risky?
No. Why do you say that?
Well, Mr. Snape is a powerful man. I mean, he probably donates as much to charity as he does to the criminal sector.
I'm well aware of that, Roberta, and that's exactly why I need him to take the stand.
I suppose, but I still think you're crazy.
He dazzles the secretary with an award-winning smile before locking eyes on a nearby bunda. Again, they couldn't make the steps sync up with the walking. Even PS1 games can manage that technical feat. How is the audio mixing this shocking?
I know.
Now the next scene is one of such epic and dramatic action, it would be irresponsible to let you, the dear viewer, go into it unprepared. So I warn you, this scene isn't for the faint of heart.
You shouldn't have tried to get Snape to take the stand.
I'm sorry, what?
My eyes! My eyes!
Sir, someone call an ambulance. Help's on its way, you'll be all right.
I can't see. I can't see.
I mean, she must have thrown some high-tech chemicals. His eyes, they ain't even red. Considering it's burnt his retinas and blinded him, that is impressive. You know, it's about £1 to get red blush to make his eyes look even slightly red, and that would make it 10 times better, but they were too damn lazy to even do that. In any case, Tony is completely blind now, which, according to Snake, is game over.
Case closed.
He wakes up sometime later where the doctor poorly dumps a bunch of exposition for his injuries.
His eyes were too badly damaged by the acid. It burns so deep that it continues to do harm, and there isn't anything you can do to stop it.
Will he be blind for life?
I'm afraid so. His vision is at less than 10% now, and it will be completely gone by the end of the day. There isn't anything that medical science can do for him now. The poor man.
Later, we see Tony at home, understandably sulking over his injuries. Silk comes downstairs, who apparently just lives at the house now. He's become Tony's rent boy.
Snape took my eyes. What good is a man without his eyes? What kind of a district attorney can I be now?
Are you sure you're not just being a little melodramatic, sir?
Feeling down on his luck and newly blinded, Tony doesn't think he's fit for the job.
With all due respect, Mr. Quinn, you are a damn fine lawman.
And it's a really interesting scene because the dialogue from Silk is stiff and read right off a script, whereas Tony is hilariously overacted. Both are awful, but the juxtaposition between the two is hilarious to watch play out.
You still have a voice. You still have a mind. And as long as you have the will to live, you can still do your job and put people like Oliver Snade away. Justice may be blind, but I know you still believe in it.
I want to be alone, Silk. I need time to think.
There's a knock on the door and Tony tells Silk to make whoever's there leave. Then from the shadows comes the same woman we saw earlier, and she has an interesting offer.
We've never been introduced. My name's Carol Baldwin. And I have a proposition for you.
Much like all women in these types of flicks, the actress speaks with a bizarrely sexual undertone despite it not matching the dialogue in any way.
Now, I know you've been treated by the best doctors in North America. Well, they couldn't do a thing for you. You're wondering, what could this woman possibly offer me that they couldn't? Well, I'll tell you this too. I know of a procedure currently being tested in the Orient. If you're willing to undergo this procedure, I'll pay for it.
In exchange for helping take down her father's killer, the same man that blinded Tony, she's willing to pay for experimental surgery that might repair his eyes.
I'm leaving instructions on the table. You need to follow them exactly. If you do, you just might see again. Bye.
After some deliberation, Tony makes a decision.
Silk!
Yes, Mr. Quinn.
There's a piece of paper on that table. I want you to read it to me. And Silk, I need you to call the airport. You're gonna need to book 2 tickets for us.
Is Silk literally this man's slave? Does he not have a job? His role in this movie is flaky at best, and after watching the entire thing, you realize his only purpose in the entire movie is to read the medical procedure to Tony when he's blind. He didn't even need to warn Tony because Tony already had the drop. He serves no purpose.
Whatever you need, I got connections. Underworld connections.
We see a bunch of generic medical operations, all of which apparently fail, resulting in him attempting some back alley mystic operation.
After that didn't work, I met with a different set of doctors. And I only call them doctors because I don't know what else to call them. They used methods of healing that I had never heard of before.
Now, they didn't have the budget to actually show this process, so they just mention it in passing, like some mystical eye ritual isn't what people would actually want to see. No, instead we will have to watch the stock medical footage.
After they completed their procedures, I had to sit with bandages over my eyes for 2 full weeks.
Again, the movie does this moronic thing where he talks about an event in past tense, shows the entire thing without sound, then a moment later shows the exact same scene, just without the sepia filter.
Would I see again? Only time would tell.
I don't know if this was padding for time, to increase the overall watch time, but it's awful. It drags out every scene. Without my quick-fire editing, this movie is agony, honestly. It's worse than cock and ball torture.
What if the surgery didn't work? What if I'm still blind?
The surgeons were the best in the world, Tony. It must have worked.
I hope you're right, Carol.
They unravel the bandages to see if the surgery was a success, to see if he can see again.
Light. I can see light.
It's a lovely scene because we get to see what a man looks like when he's been told to act sensitive to the light, but, can't act.
No! It's still too bright. Something's wrong.
Don't panic yet. Silk, could you get the lights?
Of course.
In the dark. I can see perfectly in the dark. This is amazing. This is amazing. I have perfect night vision. No one else in the world has that except for bats and creatures of the night.
This whole scene is the worst. It's like a really shitty version of Riddick. In fact, even the actor's like a really shitty version of Vin Diesel or Pitbull. He needs to get some answers, so he whacks on the best disguise he has and heads down to the local strip cinema, which is the only way I can describe whatever the fuck this next scene is meant to be.
Alright, you're not here to see me! You're not here to see me! You want to see some ladies, don't ya? Alright, let's bring them on!
4 half-naked women stand in front of a cinema screen and dance around for about 15 minutes. It's softcore at this point, and absolutely no explanation is given as to why the bat decides to come here and sit through the entire show, other than being a degenerate. The scene plays out for an embarrassing amount of time, with women just walking around, and in the end, he just went there to meet a contact that has information on Oliver Snate.
No, there's no amount of money that's gonna make me rat on Snate.
All right, maybe you know somebody that worked with him. Somebody I can meet.
Think I'm crazy or something?
$1,000.
Maybe I am crazy. There's a guy named Steve. He works for Snake. I know he's gonna do a drop tonight.
Wow. The man's entire life is apparently worth risking for one bag, huh? The scriptwriters are morons. The camera then flicks back to the strippers the producers paid good money for and has another little zoom round, I genuinely believe that this entire movie was one giant scam just to get those half-naked women in a small room where the producers can film them. With the new info, the bat sets off to get answers, where we have the movie's first suit-up scene. Much like the dancers, this scene just drags on for so long. They literally didn't have enough music to span the duration, so it just cuts out while he's fumbling with his gloves. Legendary. Suited and booted, the bat hits the town once more. We cut to a drug deal in a back alley.
The deal was you
come alone. It's unexpected company. I don't know this guy. I don't talk to this guy. I kind of want to shoot this guy.
Relax.
The two groups are in a standoff over a dodgy deal, and this dumbass will not stop looking right at the camera.
Bang.
You could say that. What party favors you bring?
I honestly think that lad there was just trying to enter his house and they forced him to be an extra in this scene.
You like him?
Yeah, we like.
You bring money?
After purchasing some firearms, the group are wrapping up the deal when the bat steps out from the shadows like a mentally unstable cosplayer.
You got a problem, friend?
You've got the problem, and I'm not your friend.
For context, I'm not zooming here for comedic relief. This is their own shot.
You get a load of this guy? Huh. Smart man.
Hold up. What the fuck happened there? Can this asshole see in the dark or teleport? How did he disappear, then reappear to punch a man without anyone seeing a thing?
Smart man.
The thugs run outside about 10 steps, which completely takes their breath away.
Just who the heck is this guy anyway?
Some freak from a psycho order, I think.
This is why cardio is important if you're a criminal. But enough of that. Did someone say, hey, what would the worst shootout ever recorded look like?
Oh, the freaks found you for sure.
He's got guns as well.
Just shut up and shoot him!
Again, I want to remind everyone, this is not a comedy. This is not a school project. This is the work of adults.
The hell?
The bat catches the last thug and delivers a harrowing message for Snate.
Tell Oliver Snate that he better keep a nightlight on, because he's about to be afraid of the dark.
Hard cut to found footage of a red car driving at night, the outtakes of the Blair Witch Project or something. Inside his shitty rental car, the bat outlines the final stages of the plan.
But the location where he keeps his illegal guns and drugs was something I could never crack. I figured that with enough of a scare, the goon would lead me right back to him.
He's gonna track the scared goon right back to the big boss and his illegal operations. At Criminal HQ, we get to see more of Snate, who's arguing with the scared thug from earlier.
It's just all in black. Mask and everything. In and out of the shadows. We never knew he was coming from. It was like an ace shot. No problems getting us in his sights. Boss, if I were you, I'd be scared out of my skin.
So you think I should be scared?
It was like death himself.
I am disappointed with the main villain. It would have been hilarious if they ripped off a Batman villain and done a shit job of portraying them as well, like the Joking Man, or 1+1 Face, or Masky Strong Mexican Man.
I had finally made my way to Snate's warehouse. Next step was to find a way in.
Now we've gone full circle, back to the start of this epic movie, and we're near the conclusion.
I gotta take a leak. Make it quick.
I really like that they decided not to cut to the point we left off, or even show a summarized version of events like any decent movie would do. Instead, we have to watch the entire intro for a second time. Also, he's in a brightly lit room here with no sunglasses on. The movie literally forgot what his abilities are. He's blind in bright light and can see in the dark. Why not have him cut the power and murk people in the dark? That would actually make use of the powers the movie spent nearly 50 minutes giving context to.
I want everyone to be on the lookout for a man dressed in black. If you see him, kill him. That is all.
The bat fights his way deeper into the complex, defeating a whole bunch of bad guys along the way. You know, what makes this scene even funnier is I like to imagine that this absolute bando, this crack den they're recording in, is their actual office and production studio in real life. It would make sense. Going through a doorway, the bat is caught by surprise. I say surprise. By the angle of the gun, the man would literally have to be stood just behind the camera, and maybe the bat really was blind after all. So the bat is captured, and he gets taken to the big boss for a final confrontation.
I watched the whole thing on my monitors. You put on quite a show, believe me.
Glad you enjoyed it, scum.
Aw, Now you've gone and hurt my feelings. I would have thought a guy with your talents would need some extra money. Those clothes don't come cheap, I imagine.
No, sir, you are mistaken. That costume is in fact cheap.
Do you believe that you and your entire crew are on the same page?
If they know what's good for them, they are.
Are you sure about that?
In a stroke of genius, the Bat manages to scare away all the thugs by pulling out a stick of dynamite. This action culminates in visual pain, not for the man that's about to get punched, but for us, the viewers. I mean, it looked like he was slapped with a wet tissue, but who am I to argue? It was effective, a critical hit.
You know, this changes nothing.
I expect the DA will have something to say about that.
About what?
About this building. It's loaded with drugs, guns. I don't even think a smooth talker like you will be able to talk your way out of this one.
You really don't know who I am, do you?
I have a pretty good idea.
He takes the mob boss in and, for good measure, blows up the warehouse. A warehouse he just said he was going to use as evidence. I mean, there goes the evidence, but meh, we do get an epic slow-mo explosion. Now, I would normally insult the poor CGI explosion here, but after the explosions we saw in the Captain Battleman video, this was A tier. Post-explosion, the movie quickly wraps up with very little satisfaction. The Bat's literally just looking at his phone while monologuing.
Snake was put away for good after that. Between the guns, drugs, and orchestrating an assault on a certain district attorney, Snake was off the streets. The unfortunate thing is that with crime lords, you're dealing with a hydra. When you cut the head off one, 2 more grow back.
I don't get it. Is he supposed to be tweeting his thoughts out to a fan account or something? The credits roll and we hear a series of calls from the citizens of the town talking about the Bat.
Yeah, hey, personally, I'm for the Black Bat. I think he's doing a lot of good things for the city. I think he's helping people. There's a lot of people out there who, can't look after themselves, and I think it's good that someone's stepping up since our cops don't seem to be doing nothing.
This guy's not an elected official. He's not paid by the city. You just want this guy to run around with guns and take out criminals in your neighborhood?
It's fine, very J. Jonah Jameson. I assume all the visuals of the Black Bat here are taken from the actual Black Bat comics. I doubt anyone producing this movie had the ability to actually draw, or produce, or correctly swallow their spit without it dribbling down their chin. In closing, I would rather the actual Batman use my ballsack as a speed training bag than have to sit through this movie one more time. Watching these movies is like some weird sort of masochist torture at this point. No one's watching these videos, I keep coming back for more. I love it. I can't help myself. There's little to no redeeming qualities about the rise of the Black Bat, other than to look at it, point and go, haha, look how shit this is. But even that novelty wears off after the first 5 minutes, and then you just sat there thinking, what am I doing with my life?
I can't see. I can't see.
In actuality, the Bat doesn't have many powers. His main ability is getting into shootouts with people that can't aim for shit. Although, I suppose he does have the ability to teleport when the script requires it. Even though you can watch this entire movie for free on YouTube, I still feel cheated. I still feel like I'm owed some kind of recompense for having had to watch this multiple times. Like, say, perhaps you taking a moment to like this video and subscribing to the channel. I mean, that would be a nice start, wouldn't it? Check out my other terrible movie reviews if you have the time. If not, thank you for making it this far, and I'll see you next time. Muchas gracias. Adios.
Guns. More than I need the money.
What the hell is this? He with you?
No.
You sure?
Guys I hang with dress a lot freakier than that dude.
You got a problem, friend?
You've got the problem, and I'm not your friend.